Now, we have had several talks about innovation. Let's make a quick review. In order to be competitive, we talk about that we need to be innovative. Okay? It's a very easy recipe that many people give away. Be competitive. If not, you are going to be eliminated from the market. Okay? But you need to consider that in order to be competitive, you must be innovative. But again, it seems like automatic. And it's not automatic. Because, okay, in order to be competitive, you need to be innovative. In order to be innovative, for innovation you need? For innovation you need? Knowledge. Perfect. Knowledge. Easy to get the knowledge. No, it's not so easy. It's not only to go to the university. It's not only to read a book. Because if you read a book, you read the information that a book has. If you come to the university, I give you the information. But I'm not giving you the knowledge, I'm giving you the information. Of course, with more information, you may have more knowledge. But in order to have more knowledge, you need more learning. Exactly. Learning. You need a learning process. Because there are knowledge that is tacit and there are knowledge that is codified. Knowledge codified can be codified by books, by videos, by recordings, and so forth. Okay? And we generally go and study that kind of information or that kind of knowledge that is already codified, and we try to learn it. But it's difficult to incorporate all that into ourselves and convert the knowledge into your own knowledge. A very easy way of explaining that were the examples of learning to ride a bike. I may give you a manual. I can explain you how to ride a bike. You go on the bike, go to certain speed of pedaling, and so on. And I explain you, and I make an examination. By the way, later on we will have an examination today. I hope you are prepared. Then I make the examination, let's say to Rashni, how to ride a bike, and she has 100% good, she understood it. If I give her the bicycle, and she was never on the bike, do you think with the theory will she handle? No. She will not. She will fall down. It's not that I didn't give the knowledge. It's not that I didn't give all the information. It's because she needs to incorporate that knowledge into her own behavior, belief, practice, and so on. Then the same happens if you are going to learn a new program in the computer. You sometimes read the catalog and you don't understand what is going on. You do this, all the steps, but somebody needs to come here and tell you, explain you, and once you do it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, it's very easy. Okay? But the same happens with organizations. The industries, the factories are also learning. It's not only that the person learns, but also the organization learns. Actually, you buy or sell companies, entire companies, because they have already some know-how, some process that have been developed a long time. Okay, but then the learning process is it takes time. It takes time. But of course, then we continue. We say we need to be competitive. We need to be innovative. We need to have more innovation. We need to have more knowledge. We need to have more knowledge. We need to have more learning. Okay, we are learning from direct learning and from indirect learning. Direct learning, going to the university, reading the books, so forth, and indirect learning, practicing, learning by doing, learning by researching, learning by mistaking. We need to some forgetting. We need to forget about the old habits that we have, the bad costumes, the bad uses of technology or other things. We throw away the bottles when finished. Throw them away. Garbage. We should learn, we should forget that costume, that idea, and we should incorporate a new one. But this is only once you are conscious. If not, people continue doing the same. The use of pesticides. It was a very good recipe for increasing the yield of harvest of different crops. It was applauses about the creation of pesticides and chemical fertilizers. Later on, years, decades after that, we realized that we are polluting the air, polluting the woman, polluting the people, polluting the milk of the breath of the woman for kids, making terrible transformations of the fetal human, polluting the groundwater, and maybe people that are drinking the water down the stream are getting sick, and up the stream we are using pesticides. Then we need to regulate, we need to create new learning, and we need to forget the regular use that we were having before. Is it okay? Okay. Now we realize that when a politician says, okay, we are now going to open a market and the prices from other countries are cheaper, then please, you need to be competitive. It's not like that. It's not like, okay, do it. I will come back tomorrow and you should be more competitive. No, it's a whole process that you need to develop. In that sense, once you are politicians or policymakers, each one of you, I know you have a big future, and you can be the mayor of the city, or the congressman, congresswoman, or lawmakers, and so forth. Think that the written part is something that may be easily written, but it has behind many implications. Like in this case, it has economics of innovation. This is what we call economics of innovation. Now, if we want to do all this, it's because we want to change what we have. Because if not, we will be okay. Why we need innovation? Because we need change. Okay. Then change comes with doing things different than we are doing. Then what is what we want to do different? Well, our traditional economics, we want to change it. Because the traditional economics is a linear economics where we take some material from the ecosystem, transform this in the productive sector, throwing away some waste in the middle of the process, using the product, and once the product is used, the package or the leftovers are thrown away. This is the linear process that we are having. Taking, producing, using, and disposing. Exactly. Then we want to transform that in a circular economy. The circular economy is considering 4 R's. You remember? 4 R's. It's coming in the examination. 4 R's. 1 R is reduce. Reuse. Recycle. Refurnish. Okay? Then, of course, if you start right from the beginning, when the economy, the industries, the agriculture, the different sectors of production are taking from nature, taking from ecosystems, the raw materials. At the beginning, we didn't care what happened. We just take it, and it doesn't matter if we destroy whatever. let's say we need wood, we destroy the forest. Maybe only we need 2 trees, but we take 10 just for the case. Now, if we start thinking that we should change, then the first thing is to have the first R that you mentioned, reduce. Reduce the quantity of raw material that you are going to use the proper one, not an excess. But not only that, but when you have that, and you have the production system running, there are going to be leftovers, then you need to think in a different design of the product. Then in order to have a product that can be reused in parts, fix it, maybe with a new painting, with a new, I don't know, art addition of something, whatever, then new designs, but also you need to be thinking in the potential of the recycling and reuse of that product. And I gave you some examples, not only, let's say, from easy things of plastic. Now you see that some plastics are recycled. You know that some bottles are reused. The glass bottles are again in the market. They were almost out because it was much cheaper to have the plastic bottles. But also the cars. The cars are being substituted some parts of them to give them longer life. They are thinking in electric cars, that they are producing all their impacts, but then also they are taking care of what kind of impacts they are taking. The emissions that we are producing when we are driving a car are being incorporated or internalized with different economies, with some instruments. These are very important things that have been happening. All this, what it's going to do is bring us into the compliance of the ODS. ODS. What ODS is? ODS? Huh? Objectives? Oh yes, no, I'm sorry, I was thinking in Spanish. ODS is in Spanish, I said SDG. SDG.
Sustainable Development Goals.
Exactly. Sustainable Development Goals. How many are there? 70. Exactly. Then the idea is to follow up the Sustainable Development Goals to transform our economy into a more ecological economics, into a different way of production. And we also review very quickly that there are, in one side, ecology, in the opposite side, economics. They all both have the same root, eco, no? Eco is like the house, and economics is the administration of the house, and ecology is the living of the house. Then Earth, the planet Earth is our house, our home. Then we have on one side economics, on the other side we have ecology. We have ecological economics, including both of them, plus environmental economics and economics of natural resources. The idea is to use the instruments, the incentives, the taxes, the different approaches to innovate and to transform our society in that direction. This was more or less in short what we have been doing, no? Also, we say that there are different typologies of innovation, of course, okay? And we have the different typologies of that, and in the typology we have, for instance, product innovation, process innovation, organizational innovation, and institutional innovation. Then we have been reviewing yesterday radical innovation and in products and processes, and today we are going to finish reviewing a little bit organizational and institutional innovation that we already have been talking. I already explained that organizations are the groups of people assembled in an association, in foundations, in an NGO, in a business, whatever. One ministry is the organization, no? Now, we sometimes confuse when we say institution, the ministry is an institution. Well, really it's an organization. In our economics point of view, it's an organization because it's where we are organized on some. Institutions, according to economics, are the rules of the game. The rules of the game. Or the rules. Or the law. Or so. Okay? This is very important, this difference. How we behave in our society is institutionalized. For instance, if we have a country that is a democratic country, we may say that they have institutionalized the democracy. No? They institutionalize the elections. But we may have another country where they have a dictatorship. Then they institutionalize a dictator. Or, for instance, we accept we have institutions like religion is an institution, is something that we have set up in our countries, in our cultures. Family is a way of organizing ourselves, is an institution in the countries. When we generally talk about family, we were thinking in mom, dad, and the kids, woman, men, and so on. Now, some changes in institutions of family is that there is a discussion worldwide about if the family is only man and woman. It can be two women or it can be two men, because gays and lesbians may be together and so on. This is changing the whole world and impacting positive or negative according to the culture of each society. But in general, family is an institution. It's something that we understand. If we have, why we organizing families? We live in houses and each house has one family in general. Why we accept that? Why not all things? I studied in Denmark, and in Denmark they decided that this should be changed. The young people at that time. They said, our parents or grandparents or other people decided that we should live in families. Why was that? Let's do it different. And they live in communes, like comunas, no? Communes, they say. And then there was a group of men and a group of women that decided to live freely in one house. And then it was national-wise changed. Of course, the parents were against that, no? But the youngsters decided to live in that way. And then they were working and going to university and so on. And then the way they organized, they put together the money, all the work, and they put together the money in one pocket, let's say, or one, ¿cómo se dice?
Pool. One pool.
Yeah, one pool, okay? And from there, they were taking according to their needs. I need a new chair, okay, then I take it. I need a new shoes, okay, I take it. Well, I need a new coat. Well, the other guy were saying, why a coat? You don't need a coat. It's you that you want a coat. You really don't need it. We need more at this time to pay the bill or whatever. And then they started discussing and then setting priorities, doing some rules, and so different institutions. They set up a different institution, different than families that were the communities. They needed to pay the rent, they needed to pay the services, and they put together all everything and so on. Of course, there were rooms for women, there were rooms for men. There was, you may imagine that some problems started right there, no? Sometimes they wanted to go into the other room, no? And these things, no? But then they maintained as much as possible their commitment. Another problem was who cleaned the house. Oh well, the woman, of course. No, why of course? Why of course? Because it was institutionalized that the woman was the one cleaning. No, but now it's not. Now everybody cleans. Who cook? Everybody must cook. Well, we are a couple, then we are in charge of cooking, but I don't want to cook every day. Okay, let's make a schedule, and I cook Mondays with Evelyn. And Rashni cook with somebody else Tuesdays. And the couple cook the next day, and so forth. And who clean? Who wash the dishes? At what time you come to eat? At whatever hour? No. There's set hours what you eat. I don't need to go to the university today. I woke up at 11. I want my breakfast. You were in charge of my breakfast today. Yes, I made the breakfast at 7 in the morning because I was leaving at 8 because I needed to start working. I cannot wait you to start at 11. You see? But we have all these problems solved in an institutionalized family. In the family, the same things are happening with us and our kid. We have a daughter that is 20 years old, and she woke up at a different time than me. Okay? I already washed the dishes and I left. But we already settled how she will do, how she will manage, and so on. But this is our family, it's our institutionalized behavior. These new communes were a very good experiment. They are still some working, running. But now they are behaving in a very different way because they couldn't manage everything. Especially because these countries are also very free with sexual relations and relations with drugs and so on. Then maybe there was a couple that have a small kid, and the small kid is drinking milk from a can, not from the bread. And then of course the milk is more expensive, and I needed some money to buy marijuana, no? And they said, no. First, the milk of the kid is very important. Let's prioritize the milk of the kid. Why? Hey, my priority, and my priority is marijuana. Did you say marijuana?
Right?
Marijuana, you know what is it?
Yeah,
The drug. Okay. How do you say in English?
We call it marijuana.
Yeah, or whatever drug. It doesn't matter. Or smoke. Let's suppose tobacco, no? Or this or other than bulb that you blow and so on. Then, of course, we have different priorities as our people, but we create an institutionalized setups. These are the institutions. Then how to change the institutions to increase competitiveness is what is important in here. And institutions are many, but family is one of them. Okay? Okay, we will see very quickly. One important institution that we can think today is that today is 8th of March. Huh? We have been institutionalizing the 8th of March as the Day of Women. Okay?
Yes.
Woman Day. It should not be only one day a year. It should be every day of the year. Huh? But, okay, we have institutionalized 8th of March, the International Women's Day. I think that we all, men and women, should fight and should struggle for all the human rights. Equal rights for men and women. Equity in our relationship. Forget about that you clean and I clean, I don't clean, or you cook and I don't cook, or the other way around also. that I drive only, and the other person doesn't want to drive also. Okay. Of course, it's going to take time. And in different cultures, they're going to take even longer. But congratulations to all the women. And all the women, and many women are going into innovation now very, very strongly. Because they have also a different way of seeing the different challenges that we are facing. Okay, let's say organizations. What are organizations? Okay. Can you see that? Yes?
Yes, sir.
It's like move like that, no? Organization is a social unit of people in a structure and manage, that is structured and managed to meet a need or pursue collective goals. Then you may think, okay, a business, it fit there, an association, it may fit there, an NGO, it may fit there, and many other things. These are the organizations. And an organization is an entity comprising multiple people. Of course, then we have different points of view. Such an association that has external collective goal, and it is linked to an external environment. Now, organizations always are born very nice, but the first day after born start having a problem because it's composed of people, and we believe different things, and we consider different things our priorities and so forth. Then this is what is important about the organization, that we must dialogue, we must settle intermediate agreements, because somebody wants A, other people want C, then maybe we got into the negotiation and we got B. It's not the one that each one of us wanted, but it's the one that is possible. You know, because then the same happened with the innovation, because we make the organization because we want to change something. We want to achieve a goal that was not easy to do or to comply, to achieve if only one person would do. Instead of trying to achieve a goal by one person, we made an organization that is composed by several people. In order to achieve it, then we probably need to negotiate. We need to go into negotiations. Then, organizational innovation is a process that increases your capacity to thrive in challenging times. It can be defined as an introduction of something new, the same that we were talking about innovation, a new idea, a new product, a new service, a new technology, new process, new strategy, something new to an organization, or something that is changing for them. Then, for instance, we may think in a new design of our organization. Let's registrar and so on. And then you start saying, okay, we have some desirability. We want to change somehow. It could be, do employees love the way it's working? Maybe it's not that they hate, but it's something that they want to change a little bit. It's not that they are against the authorities, it's that they want to improve and to have a better performance. Then this is the idea, where you have only the desire, but then you need to discuss it into the organization and to be open. This is the first thing when you have a democratic organization, that you are allowing to discuss, allowing to have new ideas, a new incomings. But then you will review if it is viable. You need to review the viability. And does it support the business model, the customer experience vision, the way we are working? Does it really work? Maybe. The new idea is good. But now you need to think, okay, I have this idea and it's viable. But is it feasible? Do we have the money to do it? Is it technically and economically functioning? Because sometimes you may have a great idea, but it is not going to be working because you have the money to do it, or because technically it's not possible, or because there are rules and regulations that doesn't allow you to do the change. But then this is the way, more or less, human-centered design for organizational innovation. Then you may think many things, no? Not only how the structure or the governance of the university work, but also, let's suppose, what is the participation of the students in the development of the curriculum. Generally, the businesses and the youngsters are faster than the reaction of the institutions. Because, let's take artificial intelligence or 3D printers that we were talking yesterday. They are already working. They are already in the market. The factories are already working with that. And then you may say, well, okay, soon it's going to come one. Then maybe it's good to wait. But you wait 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Now it's not only 3D printer, it's probably coming another technology, because technologies are changing almost every day. You saw yesterday the world that we're living, no? In 5 hours, 5 hours of videos of YouTube were in how much? 1 minute uploaded. In every minute we have several hours of YouTube already uploaded. Then life and technology is moving so fast. Then many times, in order to change and update and catch up with the curriculum, with the changes in the curriculum, take long time. Then maybe it's not that you want to change the university or change the student, the administration, so maybe it's that just you want to change the program. Okay, then these are organizational innovations where you can think, okay, in order to do that, probably the students should be more present there, should say something else, should have a voice, or whatever, okay? There are different innovations, 5 ways to foster organizational innovation. One is leaders that encourage the innovation. Let's say in this group, one say, why not we do this and this and this, and the others follow and say yes, and let's push it and so on. Okay. The other is the culture. In general, the culture generally say, okay, we should change that. Or maybe you can change the culture somehow. The third is there is formal innovation strategy. Okay, the organization, for instance, all the students should say, okay, we are going to point to select 5 students of us that will create a strategy to do this. And this strategy is going to take 5 years. Or the university itself, or the factory, the industry, say, okay, we are going to decrease the use of pesticides in agriculture. And we cannot do it tomorrow. Nobody is going to obey. We are going to stop the burning of the scrum. How is it? Exactly. We will stop that. If you say, this is so No, you say, okay, the way to stop it is to make a law. No, you make a law and continue the problem. Then you may create a strategy to do it. It's better to be realistic and say, okay, the law is not going to serve us now, but let's put the law, but at the same time, let's put a step of 4 years of how we are going to switch into this. There is also money in the budget. Sometimes you have some resources that may be used or directed to create some innovations. Or you may separate them from the budget. It's not necessarily that you have leftovers, but that you, on the budget, in general, you don't have leftovers in the budget. But then you commit the change with some organizational change. And leaders set the direction of the innovation. For instance, sometimes we have, let's say, a newspaper, and you are a journalist. Then you go and cover the news, and then you come into your desk and type what you have, and then handle it and send it to the reviewer of the journal. And then, but you do it, and she does, and then separate. You don't know what they are doing. Then maybe we set up the office in a different manner. Maybe an organizational change as simple, quotation, as simple as new setup may help to have a different direction, or new rules of how to do that. Okay, now let's suppose we have here, well, this again drawing. You have been seeing that I like the drawings, no? To try to express what I'm, or to show you what I'm expressing with words. A comprehensive model for the creation, diffusion, and sustaining of the organizational innovation. Let's suppose we follow these steps. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 steps in the process. Here, in this first circle, is the circle where things are triggered, some influencing the need for a change, the need for the innovation. Then you have some desirability, like I said before. Then you see the feasibility, and then you have the first try. Let's see if it works. Then you make corrections and so on, but you have the implementation. And then sustaining if it is working, or fixing if it is not working. Okay? This is the organizational improvement trajectory. Okay? And then these are external and diffusion channels. Then generally the organizational innovation is not because only one person invented the change. It's because it's social. As I explained before, innovations are appearing because they are social interactions. Very difficult that somebody will have an innovation internally in the laboratory, only there in the laboratory, alone, working with some few tests or whatever. Very unlikely. They generally have external context and diffusion channels. But then let's see this working. This is working. Now it's a mess. No? Because what happened? Well, who are the ones triggering the innovations? Probably universities, other institutions, local and international user networks, consultants, boards, people. Everybody is asking this organization to change or to move. And then we will have a cumulative path dependence, sustaining the change, not to change. You know, there are always, if you want to say, okay, now I'm going to put the work in this other side, and you are going to move the chairs. There is always a resistance. No, why? We are okay like that. Okay? Path dependencies, search and learning, conscious systemic search, reinvention of internal standardization, reinvention, continual reinvention, top management, inertia, users, competence, commitment. Because you can also say, okay, let's do the change, you explain to everybody, but the people are not committed. The labor that is working in that factory or this industry is not committed. You need to put them into, you need to convince them. It's not that, even in the private sector, that is easier. If you say, well, if you don't do the way I am telling you, I fire you. In the private sector. The public sector is much more difficult. You cannot do that. There is no stability. You don't need to, you cannot do whatever you want. Then, well, at least in my country, I don't know here, but in general, you don't supposed to be firing everybody because they do not accept something. Then, you need to convince the persons to do that. Okay, but these the ones that were triggering, but also from outside the external context are all these market owner demand, local institutional setup, imitation of previous experiences, management beliefs. The beliefs are very important. Look at this. We signed an agreement for free trade agreement, for free trade. You signed, I signed, you are as a person in charge of the country, me as a person in charge of the country. 1 year after, I said, no, let's raise the tariffs. Then what happened there? When it was lost, was the trust, no? We lost the trust. We have no more confidence in that person. If the person said, no, okay, let's sign it again. You say, peace treaty. You have a peace treaty. You have a war with somebody. And you have a peace treaty. What do you need there? You need to have not only faith, but trust. Trust is a big institution. Here we are in an organization, but we are going to institutions. But it is clear that it's necessary to have trust to do things. If I am going to make a business with you, if you are coming to the university, why you were not in other university, or why you were coming to this course? Because you have confidence. You have trust that the professor that is announcing this course is, oh, I believe that this is going to be a good course. Do you pay for the course? I don't know. If you pay, even more. But also, if you don't pay, I mean, if you're tired, you can be doing other things. Then trust is fundamental for economics and is fundamental for innovation. You cannot innovate if you don't irradiate trust. That's why is happening all this situation in the world right now. I have been very quiet all the week. I haven't talked very much about tariffs and so on. But what is true is that we are facing a whole set of changes in the whole world, in the globalization, that are threatening the ways we are having in our lives, and that we need to be paying attention very, very clearly what is the road or the direction that is being developed. Okay? Because trust is losing, it's being lost. And there are some threats, very, very soft threats, let's say, Okay, I heard some declarations yesterday of one of the delegates in the worldwide discussion. They said, if you want tariff trade, okay. If you want trade war, okay. But if you want whatever kind of war, it's okay too. Well, this is somehow a threat, no? Then this is very important to consider, because is in international relations, is in internal relations, is in business relations, and in all of these cases, there is a potential of innovation. The history is very, very important. How it has been working a long time. The weak ties or the strong ties, the markets, the perceived crisis or not. Question so far. Organizational innovation, with this I finished organizational innovation. Let's see, she told me to finish at 1. Oh, yes, okay. Organizational innovation is, as I was telling you, the setup of a place may be different. I know these newspapers. These are newspapers in Costa Rica. These are pictures from a newspaper setup. They were in offices. Her office, your office, your office, your office, all together, just beside. Office, no desk, office. They finally decided to have a new organization with less hierarchy, more flat. Then they decided to move it into a circle. Here are the heads of the departments, sitting in the same level. Okay, little bit above of the others, and destroyed all offices. It's the same building. This building, they took off all the walls and they set up this in the middle, and they put this how you call it?
Desks.
Huh?
Desks.
Yeah, desks, but are not exactly desks, but like more.
Workstations.
Yeah, exactly. Workstations, as you can see there. Furthermore, these workstations are in line here, and these are in line here, but then these are others that are short. Okay? If somebody from all around needs something, they could go, just walk here. They don't need to go and see if the secretary allowed to enter or not. And sometimes, let's see. Let me make this picture. I think you will understand. I need to tell the director that he is not doing things very well or whatever. Huh? I'm going to go to tell him to say that. But from here on, is the office of the director. The director is at the end. Here is the entrance. It doesn't sound now, because now it's carpet. Huh? Now it's carpet, and now I am with the same strength. Huh? But and then the secretary, what do you want? I need to talk to the director. Do you have an appointment? Huh? And so forth. And then forget it. You will, no, I'll come tomorrow, okay? And you leave. Then changes need to be done in many aspects in order to have really organizational innovation. In the factories, in the universities, in the different places. Huh? Then through organizational innovation, the world most innovative companies have largely created structures that remove structural barriers. Not structural barriers, not only like walls, but also in the mind, like the ones in the carpet, the ones in a better consideration. They have established an innovation culture and improved their innovative capabilities. so capability, sorry. This is intended to promote both continuous improvement, process improvement, and incremental innovation, as well as disruptive innovation and digitalization. Companies like Apple, like Samsung, like big companies like in other areas, not only in technology, have been changing and using organizational innovation to really help and produce changes that benefit them, but also other small ones like newspapers. Now you see that they have been also being somehow forced to change their organization because the technology changed. I don't know here in India, but I imagine the same happened here. Newspapers were generally in paper, and now they're electronic newspapers. Then the people that were selling the newspapers on the streets, there are not anymore. The ones that were delivering to different places, they are not anymore. But also the ones that were working in these places, now they are transformed into a digital manner. Probably many lost their job because this technological change, but the organizational change came about. To finish, what are institutions? I already explained what institutions are, but Douglas North, that is a very classical theorist on economics about that, said that institutions are the rules of the game in a society, or more formally, are the humanly devised constraints that shape human interaction. I invited Douglas North to my country some years ago, and he came and he was coming in the taxi, and he started talking with the taxi driver. Then I learned from him to do the same. And then I want to teach you to do the same. Do the same when you go to other country or to other state and you need to take a taxi. Ask the taxi driver. They know very well what the institutions are. For instance, in the conference he was talking that he was coming in the taxi, and he asked the taxi driver, how long does it take for you to take a telephone? How long does it take for you to get a telephone? At that time, the cellulars were only emerging. And the taxi driver said, I don't know, it depends. It depends on what? Well, if I do and take my time and I make it fill up the form and handle it to ISE, that is the institute that delivers the telephones and so on, and I pay in advance the telephone, and then I need to make a line, and probably it will take me, I don't know, in 2 months. They call me and they say I have a telephone number, and then I go and buy the telephone tool and then bring it to the company and they put the chip and so on. Then it was taking 2 months. And he said, for me it takes 1 day or less in the United States. I just need the telephone, I go to the supermarket and I buy the telephone, that's it. But in here it was taking 1 month. I don't know how long does it take in India to take a telephone. Probably hours, no? Yeah, very quick. Same day. Okay. But you can ask for other things. Okay? You can ask for how do you manage to have a house in here? What do you need to have a house? Okay, or to have a loan to have a house. Okay, then you say, okay, then you need to have several letters, several certificates of income. You need to have an account, and you need to be older than this and this, and so on. And even that, you need to talk to the manager, and you need to find a friend that knows somebody, and so, you know, these are the institutions. These are the rules of the game. There are rules written, and rules not written. Okay, rules that are formal are others that are informal. Then in economics, institutions have these rules, structures, practices that guide the economic activity. They can be formal, like laws and regulations, and informal, like social norms and culture. Okay? We made some, for instance, in Costa Rica, you go before you were going into bus for transport, and then the bus was coming, and you say like that, and they stop, and you went up. And 10 meters after, somebody else was there, then they went up, and so on. But then, suddenly, everything changed. They put some bus stop, and now you need to walk to the place where the bus stop. They have this bus stop, and then they put a nice roof and so on, but every, let's say 200-300 meters, no, every meter. Okay, then the rule of the game changed. Now you don't have the cultural tradition. Oh, very bad. Everybody complained because now they couldn't stop or they needed to walk. Yes, but a cultural institution, the cultural institution changed. We may subdivide the institutions for convenience of discussion in private property. This is an institution. Private property, in here is private property, no? You have a land and a private property. You buy a lot, your own lot. It's my lot. Nobody can enter in my place, and I can do whatever I want. In my lot. But if you say, I'm going to make a nuclear plant in my lot. No. Then it's not true, that you can do whatever you want. Okay? Okay, I'm going to make a dance place, no, in my lot. No, you cannot do it. Then you say, well, what happened? Now is true, is my right or not? Well, there are regulations. There are institutions accepted. This area is for housing, or this area is for commercial, or this area is for electricity. Even if you have the private property on your name, then these are the institutions that we are talking about. Then, and many times before, or sometimes now, they mix everything. You are in a neighborhood, and suddenly somebody put a dancing place just beside, and making noise and so on, and you say, I cannot live here. I need to move, or they need to move, no? Or their rules are not clear enough. Another is free markets. Free markets are free, but not totally free. No? There are rules also that are accepted. Division and combination of labor, and social cooperation. These are some of the institutions. Now, institutions are very important for the development of the economy, or for economic development. Here are 8 kind of like steps on the role of the institutions in economics. I don't know if you can read it. Let me see. Well, the first, it says that is crucial for development. The second, it says that the legal systems are key for property rights, to clarify property rights, and the regulatory bodies. All these are institutions in place. The third one is that in addition to providing a conducive environment for economic activities, institutions are also very important to play a crucial role in reducing the transaction costs. This is very important. If we have many rules, then more and more costs we have. If we eliminate the rules but have a clear institution set up, then it's less costly. Less costly. If you need to to fill up 10 or different papers in order to get a loan for a house, then it will take you time, it will take you necessary steps instead of having it in a simple manner. Okay, I will let them for you to review. Anyhow, I will leave you the transparencies. Some examples of institutions are, as I said already, like family, include family, also include religion, include education, government, and economy. These are, let's say, the 5 most important, I would say, the most important institutions that we have in each country. Okay, the family setup is one institution. Well, the way we work is linked to democracy, linked to economy. Is the democracy or not is also important. Transforming in some places. And gender scholars have also an advance of the notion of institutions that are embodying the notion that institutions are embodied in the material body. That is the practice and interactions of real people with bodies that talk and act constitute social institutions, gender included. Well, there is a huge discussion about the term with gender equality and gender changes and so on. And then there are examples of institutions that are being in change lately. Now, institutional innovation are changes in these institutions that have been always kind of like set up. Okay, are processes of adopting and developing new ideas that improve that improve the workplace environment and enhance the organization competitiveness. It goes beyond introducing new technologies. It goes beyond also of encouraging or encompassing the development strategies, processes, and organizational structures that contribute to achieve institutional goals. Institutional innovations, finally, refers to new ways of thinking. Okay, it's not only introducing new things, it's to change the way we are thinking, to change the way that we are behaving. That's why institutions are defined as a rules of the game or as the ways we do things. Okay, the way the woman should behave, the way the man should behave, the way we are running the car in our country. It is institutionalized that you drive your car in the left. We have institutionalized the car is being driven in the right. Okay. Then if we are going to change that, we are changing the whole institution because we are changing the way the people think, the way we are behaving. Of course, with that change, many other changes will trigger. The cars probably need to be changed the wheel to the other side. You need to start thinking that you are not going to see if a car is coming, but a car is coming. Okay? Then, lastly, institutional innovations refers to new ways of thinking about operations from the tools used to interactions with customers and employees. In short, I have these 2 things. Well, in here I include in the drawing the institutions I just mentioned: family, economics, religion, education, state. These are main institutions, main ways of behavior, okay, that are on the top of all the other ones that are in our organizations. When I say that are in our organizations, is that universities behave in one manner, businesses do it in another way, industries do it in another way, and so forth. Then institutional innovations is the creation of new and more efficient, effective systems to encourage people's behavior. Institutional innovations is often defined as a novel, useful, and legitimate change that disrupts to varying degrees the cognitive normative. Okay? As it says here. Or relative mainstreams of the behavior of the people. This is the idea of the institutional change. It's not every day that happens change of institutions, and when we were talking about economics of environment or economics of sustainable development, we are thinking in changing the institutions, in changing the behavior of the people, not only of us throwing the garbage away, but also changing the way of the productive system. To change the way of transport, to switch from, or to shift from petrol cars to electric cars, and so forth. This is a new way of thinking. Okay, questions? We have an exam, no?
Yes, sir.
Aha.